Hello and welcome to Mr. Kenyon's studio. In this video we're going to discuss the topic of starting age. How old is the best age to start learning an instrument? This is mainly for parents looking to get instrument lessons for their children, but this can also apply to adult learners. And anyway, this is a multifaceted topic, so let's get right into it. The saying goes, the best time to start learning anything was yesterday, but the second best time is now. So if you're on the fence, just go out there and do it. Quite frankly, just go out there and do it. It's never too late to start learning an instrument. If you're a parent looking to get lessons for your kids, wondering when you should start them, then I'm going to give you some guidelines, and I'll give you some numbers too, but the numbers shouldn't be the end-all be-all, because there's no one-size-fits-all answer. Every kid is different. Every person is different, and kids are people. They have personalities, and sometimes some kids may be late bloomers, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they can't do it. Or it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not smart either. They could be smart, just late bloomers. And sometimes a kid, you can, because of their personality, you can't really even tell how smart they are. It depends. So with regards to learning an instrument, first of all, I know that every parent thinks that their child is a genius, but that's just not true. Geniuses are very few and far between. I've been teaching music lessons for somewhere around 13, 14 years now, and I haven't come across any genius students yet. I've probably taught over 1,000 students over the years. Yeah. I have taught some talented students. Some I might consider prodigies, but yeah. So I have quite a bit of experience with regards to what's a good age to start. The general rule is going to be, for your average kid, boys will start at 5 and girls can start at 4. But again, like I said, it's really going to depend on the kid, on the individual, because they may just not have the self-control or the discipline to be able to have formal lessons at that age. And I would not recommend starting formal instruction before that unless they show an obvious interest in it. So if you have a 2-year-old and they're already picking out tunes, then yeah, by all means have them take piano lessons at 2. But for your average kid, if they're 3 years old and they still can't even speak, how do you expect them to learn music if they can't even speak yet? It doesn't make sense. Just use common sense. Obviously the instrument is going to matter. The size will play a big factor. Obviously you're not going to have a 5-year-old learning how to play a trombone when they can't even reach all the way out there, So for guitars, even with half-size guitars, guitar is a big instrument. Even with half-size guitars, I would say maybe 8 or 9 is a good age to start, depending on how big the kid is. You can also do ukulele when they're younger, and then transition into guitar because there's similarities between the two. They can start learning violin at the average learning age, so 4 or 5. But I would usually recommend piano as a first instrument. You really can't go wrong with learning piano. Just about every musician worth their salt can also play a piano in addition to whatever their main instrument is. Yeah, piano is a good instrument to learn because it really opens up the theory of music to you. Most professional musicians play piano as a secondary instrument, if not their primary instrument. Even singers can play piano, the really good ones. Most of them can. So, yeah, piano is a good instrument to start on. And the other thing is, you want to make sure that the child is interested in learning that instrument. It's always good to ask. I don't condone forcing children to take music lessons if they don't want to. I know that every parent is different, and I'm not going to tell you how to be a parent, so I'll just leave it at that. But it's really important for them to be interested, because that's what's going to motivate them, right? If you love music and you want your child to love music too, you play a big role in that. You're a big influence on them. So inspire them, get them to like it. What is it that you see in music, or whatever instrument? Let's say you want your kid to learn how to play the violin. What is it that you see in the violin that you love so much that makes you want your kid to be able to play it? You got to think about these things and try to express these things to your children. Listen to a lot of music with them. Point out the things that you like about it. Anyway, so obviously a kid that is interested is going to be practicing more, and ultimately you want them to be practicing on their own. That's the best, because that shows that they have a passion for it. But obviously when we're talking about little kids, oftentimes they're just not going to practice on their own. That's just a fact, because they don't have the discipline to do that. Some will, but most won't. So, there's nothing wrong with setting practice schedules for your kids. But, again, make sure that they're interested. Try to keep them interested. And don't force it on them. So, to summarize, you're never too old to start. But if you want your child to start early, 4 or 5 years old is usually a pretty decent age to start piano or a violin or maybe ukulele. Starting older than that is fine too. I mean, in some cases it actually works out better for them to start later. But you have to judge the situation. You can't rely entirely on the teacher, because like I said, sometimes teachers will take students that they don't really want because they need the money, especially with music teachers, because it's a tough business. So you have to use your own judgment too in the matter, whether to pull them from lessons or to try again later, or to just leave it be. Again, you want to look for interest. That's one of the most important things. But so generally around 4 to 5 years old for the average kid. And it doesn't hurt to try again later on if it didn't work out the first time. I think my mom told me that I was around 5 and she tried to have me take ukulele lessons, but I was just in my own world back then apparently, and it didn't work out. I didn't actually discover I had musical talent until middle school, because I didn't have elementary music. So I wasn't in 6th grade when I first started playing the ukulele. So I mean, it could end up like that, but I wish I had started earlier. But anyway, it is what it is. But don't be afraid to experiment. Maybe sometimes changing an instrument can pique their interest too. So anyway, so that's my advice for when to start on music lessons. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching.